All right, let's get more on this story from Lancaster University's Dr. Robert Gutsche, political analysis. Good to talk to you, Robert. Quite a show that Donald Trump puts on. We know he does, doubling down on the economy and border security. Now, these are the issues that really resonate with his base.
Yeah, and also his tone and tenor, certainly performing almost like he did several years ago at a Worldwide Wrestling Federation television appearance. So they really like this sort of Donald Trump bucking the system, taking jabs at people. And the question is going to be, are Democrats who want to get into the White House willing or able to play dirty like Donald Trump does? Unfortunately, that is kind of where we are already early in this campaign.
And how significant is that going to be? I mean, how is that the critical issue in terms of how this is going to play out? The fact that he gets up and pretty much says whatever he wants.
Well, unfortunately, I think that is how this is going to work. Certainly, that's how it worked in the 2016 election, despite the facts and the evidence that other candidates brought forward and in proposals. Whether they should have won or not isn't for me to say, but certainly he rejected facts and scientific evidence related to climate change, other things that Democrats really bank on for voters. And certainly civil discourse is one thing that Democrats bank on. And that's not going to win them this next election.
In one sentence, I think he was going to find a cure for AIDS, cure cancer, and land on Mars. What has happened with our public discourse that people don't question these statements?
You know, I think it's also playing with the things that they do resonate with. The average American, certainly Trump supporter, doesn't really care about Mars. They care about what they consider to be illegal immigrants, or in this case, illegal aliens, if you will, coming across the Mexican border. They want to see signs of police taking those folks back into Mexico. And unfortunately, that sort of hate or that sort of disdain for other nations is what got Donald Trump elected the first time. It's that rhetoric that they're really responding to. They don't really pay attention to issues of AIDS, unfortunately, or issues of going to Mars and space exploration. He may say these things, but what they're really looking at is how are they going to put food on the table, and they think it's Donald Trump.
Let's talk about the Democrats and the possibility. I mean, we do see that in some polling that he is actually struggling to make headway in some states. How much is that going to matter in the end in terms of the way the Democrats still have this long play out in terms of even selecting who's going to be opposing Donald Trump?
Well, you know, it would do Democrats much good to decide who that person is sooner rather than later. Watching Democrats tear apart at one another, as they will at some point further into the campaign, to undermine and to win is only going to undermine ultimately whoever that Democratic contender is going to be. So the more that they air dirty laundry of others from the Democratic Party, the more fuel and ammunition that gives to Donald Trump. So they're going to have to walk a fine line between how they tear each other apart or size themselves up against another, because the Trump team is going to be taking notes and using that against them when they're on stage together.
In terms of Donald Trump's rhetoric, his constant reference to Hillary Clinton and this witch hunt that has been conducted, does that matter to his base, or does that just kind of whip up a frenzy in support for him?
You know, quite frankly, it is surprising how he still uses this phrase of crooked Hillary to get somewhere. She's not even running. But that does resonate with his base. It does take them back to the impeachment hearings related to her husband. And that has to do with family values, and that has to do with international standings and where the investment is being put, if it's in Somalia, for instance, or if it's in rural America. So those things do resonate with the base that was sitting under Barack Obama for 8 years. Just twiddling their thumbs, waiting for somebody to get in the office who they could support and who would, quote unquote, drain the swamp and now keep America great as though it wasn't great before. So it's a very deeply rooted sentiments that Donald Trump's able to tap into.
How early is this for a president seeking re-election to go? I mean, it's not even 2.5 years into his 4-year term.
Well, I mean, look, he started that campaign the day that he got into the White House. It's just become more official now. In fact, last week, I think it was, he released designs for the new Air Force One, the airplane that the United States presidents fly on. And that was designed to look just like his campaign. Certainly red, white, and blue is used by lots of nations and by lots of candidates. But actually, Congress had to halt some of the spending on that airplane because they thought maybe it was extravagant, but also maybe it was too much Donald Trump. And so he started this a long time ago. It's official now, and it's unfortunate, but the discourse in America and in American politics is just going to get a lot harder for people to swallow.
Robert, thanks as always for your time.
Of course.